Hello, welcome back. I am Jessie with Stray With Me. That is Shasta. There's a dog out back that she's staring at right now, so there might be some barking. We'll have to pause if that happens. But today I am talking about tips for building and living in a small van. And you guys, I don't know if some of you noticed that I didn't post last week, even though I think that all of my intentions were to post weekly, but it's kind of hard with my full-time job, or part-time, but my job, to write my own blog posts and post, shush, yeah, and post a video, do both pretty much, like post a blog and a video every week. You're gonna have to calm down. So it's just going to alternate, but every Sunday there will be content from me. So if you're not following along on my website, make sure you are doing that. So don't mind me. I'm going to have to go back and forth to my notebook because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. But we're going to start with tips for building in a small van. So at the very beginning, if you can, I recommend stripping your van down to the bare metal and the fiber, depending if you have the same kind of van as me. There's a fiberglass top that starts here. So actually like right under this piece is metal and everything here up is fiberglass. So if you can, strip all that out. My vehicle is a 99, so it's already old. I had to fix a bunch of water leaks. I can't imagine what would have happened if I can't imagine. It would be mold and gross. So, and one of my friends, she doesn't even have like a fiberglass top where there is that joinery point where the fiberglass is meeting the metal. That's where you'll most likely have leaks, but I'm able to take pieces off if there is leaks. So, but especially if you're buying an older vehicle, usually those are the smaller ones, I would recommend taking everything out, the seats, the carpet, everything, so that you can make sure to get access to the leaks and then fix any of those leaks that you come across. Can you sit your butt down? Thank you. Okay, next, don't worry about perfection. So a lot of my van isn't perfect. I had this picture of what I wanted it to be, but I don't have any building experience, and my dad has very basic building experience, and he actually made it extremely secure, but I wouldn't say made it super pretty. So I actually really like it now. I just put some of these like the hemp rope trim pieces in recently. I wish I did that when I first started because it's super easy, just like construction adhesive, but I haven't put like a lot of trim pieces like around my kitchen, which is right here. So yeah, like it doesn't have to be perfect, especially if it's your first one. What are you looking at? If it's your first van, it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay because you can always do another one, or you can strip this out again and rebuild it. But it doesn't matter because you are still going to be living on the road and enjoying all that this country or whatever country you're in has to offer, and that's the best part of all of this. So. And next, I would recommend having an indoor and outdoor cooking option. So as much as we would like to avoid any sort of bad weather, that's just not always going to be possible. I think I've only really known one person that has relatively successfully avoided rain, and that's my friend Stavros, but he was working on his own. He makes a decent amount of money, so he can really just go wherever. His funds are endless, where he can just drive off if he like sees in the forecast on his phone that there's going to be rain. So he just goes to the sun. I think he said in the first 2 years of being in his van, or like year and a half or something like that, he only experienced 2 days of rain. So if you have a small van, he did have a Sprinter, so he could stand up and cook inside of it. But a smaller van, it's kind of a pain to cook inside. I would not recommend building in a stove top because it takes up all the counter space. My counter is, I think, maybe just a little bit bigger than 2 feet, and I'll show you in a second. So yeah, like my counter is tiny. If I built in a little propane stove, it would take so much room. So I put some, ooh, careful Shasta. She's following the dog. I put in a table on my door. Sorry, the lighting changed because she is in front of me. Because I knew if it was nice, I wanted to cook outside so I can stand up. My cooking option inside is fine too, and it's right, my fan is right above it, so I'm not worried about that. And I have a max air fan, so it pulls up the air, and it has a full rain cover. So even if the rain is coming or if it's snowing or whatever, I can open that up, have the fan going, and cook in here. So if you can, try to have 2 cooking options, especially in a low top van, because it's a pain to cook when you're not standing up. And I find I don't cook as much in the winter time. I cook like quick meals, like soups and things, like canned soups and ramen. Yeah. So next, I say keep the bed design simple. So my bed can actually be an L-shaped couch, but it is made up of 6 cushions. That's way too many. You should not have that many. Because I didn't design it very well. That was on me. It's that kind of that like slide out slat design that's really simple to make, but I had this whole grand idea of how, like, if I wanted to have people over, I could fit like 4 people in here. And technically that is possible, but I've been in my van for about a year and a half, a little over a year and a half. And the first week I made my bed into a couch. And after that, I haven't seen it as a couch since. So it's been a while. But also, I just love having the storage under. Once I was hanging out in Oregon for a bit longer, I was just cold. And so I was buying more sweaters and boots, and those things are big and it's really hard to store them. So in a small van, that's kind of a pain. On the opposite side of that, it is really nice to have 2 options for like sleeping and living in your van, but it's not, just make sure to keep it simple. Like, I've seen some really great designs where it is just like a couch on this side, and then you just pull it out, it's good to go. The whole thing kind of slides out and you just put a couple blankets on. The other issue about having my bed turned into a couch was that all my bedding went in there and all of my clothes could only fit on like under this side. And that was just like a waste of storage. So I do not recommend the way I design my bed, but I think if you do make it a convertible bed, just keep things simple, keep the minimum amount of cushions, because it's very uncomfortable. I've slept 2 people in this bed, and this is my side, the front side, because that has the biggest cushion, but the back side has 2 little cushions in half. So whoever sleeps there is sliding between those cushions. So after a while, I end up taking the uncomfortable side because I wanted my guests to be more comfortable. So that's just how it is. So yeah, try to keep the minimum amount of cushions if you do make it convertible, or just keep it as a fixed bed because it's a lot less problems. I was also noticing neck issues because I can't fully stand up in this van, so I was craning my neck the entire time, like for 10 minutes a day, because it took so long to make my bed. Shasta, do you want to come back over here? Come on, up. Good girl. All right, next, vertical storage. Luckily for me, because I have extra space here, I was able to make the bed a little taller, and I had every intention of putting a little, what's it called? Cabinet right here. I'm glad I didn't, because it would have closed this whole area off so much. But luckily I was also very easily able to put a cabinet here, and then I also have one at the front that's pretty much the same sort of design. And I also put a shelf here. Super simple, because there's this and then also the cabinet for my kitchen stuff, and having that is great. But also, I don't know if you can see, there's a basket there, and I also have one over here that is out of frame. But those were a couple newer additions, and the baskets are awesome. I found out I have this little table thing right here next to my bed. I found I just kept putting crap on this, and then I forget about it, drive away, and it all slides off. And that's not great. So I have some books in there. I have a lot of books in my van, I think, compared to a lot of people for how small my van is. And yeah, I love it. So vertical storage, if you can't do it, baskets are a very easy way to get that done. And hooks are also awesome. Oh, and pegboards I see very often, like to put as a wall, because then you can put hooks and like move things around all the time. That's a really great idea too. My next tip, I think, is kind of for any van, honestly. Use white very sparingly. I can't say that word. I used it everywhere except the ceiling and obviously the floor, and a couple, like the counters. I pretty much made all of the horizontal surfaces the same shade of brown, and then all the walls, all the vertical surfaces were white. Any van you live in is going to get dirty. You are living outside. The second your doors open and the wind happens, all this dirt's blowing in, and it's only like twofold. Oh, she's sleeping. It's only twofold. Hi, baby. Yeah, I'm talking about you. With the dog. She tracks in so much dirt and sand, and the white is gross. Now, I'm going to be repainting it, which I will be showing you guys my whole kind of remodel thing that's going to be happening once that gets started. But yeah, the white is just not worth it. And my next rig, I am planning on doing a darker color for the lower cabinets, and maybe for like the little peaks of wall I'll do some white, but I'm really not pleased with some of the white. And even like the van wives, I think they said in one of their remodeling or their painting, they like painted their van. They said they had painted their van at that point. Like that was the third or fourth time. So it's just not worth it. It's a pain. So the next tip is to have a swivel seat. Either have both or just one, like in the passenger seat. But it really opens up the space. I don't have a passenger seat, period. I took it out because I never drive with people, and when I did, they sat on the bed anyway because Shasta sits up there. So I just built a platform to cover where the passenger seat was. But once I took that seat out, it was insane how much space, it opened the space up so much because the seat back really like tilts into your space. So you can either get a swivel seat or just fully disconnect it and turn it around and re-bolt it in. That way you could still have a seat. It would be a pain if you had a passenger to have to turn it around, but it's a cheaper option. But I think you can find swivel seat mounts for like $50. So, all right. Next is to splurge on the important things. So I have a Max Air fan. I started with a Fantastic fan, and one was crap. It didn't, I had all this issue, and I can post the video or tag it because I had some electrical issues with that fan, and it just wasn't great. So I ended up replacing it with the Fantastic fan. No, sorry, oh my God. So I had the Fantastic fan replaced with the Max Air fan because I had electrical issues. And I heard most of the people who like were building vans like 4 years ago, I think Fantastic fan was like the only thing on the market. And then Max Air fan came out, and it's quieter. It has a built-in rain shield that is really high quality. And I think I have the lower of the nicer Max Air fans, because you can find a Max Air fan that has the similar, just like very small, just pop-up thing. But this has the built-in rain guard, and it's amazing. Like I said earlier, I can cook in here when it's raining, but just the fact that it's quieter, I can only hear it when it's on, like when I'm outside, on its highest setting, and it's not, unless I'm standing right next to the van, I can't hear it. So I think I've slept with it on like the middle setting before, because I usually stay in places that aren't super hot at night. It cools off. So definitely splurge on that. And then also a 12-volt fridge. I spent $300 or $400 on my fridge. They changed the name of the brand of truck fridge that I got. Mine says Stackle, but I think, I can't even remember. I'll tag it below though, or link it below, because I don't know what they call it now. They will just like sell off the company and rename it, but it's the same thing, and it's really efficient. It's really spacious, and it's not $1,000 like a Dometic. So it is 12 volts, so it is extremely efficient. I wouldn't say it's as efficient as Dometic, and if you want to splurge on that, then go for it. And then you can always take it into different vehicles if you want to hold on to it, because that is a really big purchase. But since my fridge is only $400 the max, I'm just gonna pass it off with the next owner once I sell my van. So yes, make sure you splurge on the important stuff, because otherwise you'll have to replace it down the line, and that's just gonna cost you more money anyway. I think I just kind of touched on this really quickly when I was talking about the bed, but be careful with your bed height. If you really think you will be okay, like not being able to fully sit up in your bed, I can probably promise you won't. One of my buddies had a bed that was about the same height as mine, but you can kind of see, actually, this is probably better. So this is my shelf. I think the original ceiling was here. So it would have cut like right here. I would not have been able to sit up in my bed. But it's so nice that I can. And I can have like 2 people in here sitting and we don't touch our heads. And I'm 5'8". I have a kind of average sized torso for my body, but yeah, either way, just be really careful about your bed height. Make sure you're taking into account the mattress size. Mine is 6 inches. There's a little bit of give when you're sitting on it because it's memory foam, but still it's like 4 inches, 4 or 5 inches on top of whatever your frame is. All right, so now we're gonna move into tips for living in a small van. So you don't always need a toilet. Like in my last video, I showed you what I pee in, and I have pooped in a bag. So even though you don't have a toilet in your van, you will need a plan in case you need to use the bathroom in your van. I've only had to poop in my van once for a big emergency, but I always am careful about what I'm eating, especially if I'm city camping, because I don't want to have to drive to what's it called? A gas station in the middle of the night. That's just not something I want to do. So, but yeah, the pee jugs are great if you also have a funnel, like Eamon and Beck and a few other people do this, but drilling, I was going to do that, but I forgot. So I just got a funnel and put it into a jug, and it's kind of nice because in certain areas, like I just wouldn't want to be peeing outside, like into the van, and I don't want to have something like a holding tank under it, but some people need it. So it's all in your comfort zone, and you can build around where you want your toilet. I potentially could put one under the platform where the passenger seat used to be, but I don't care enough. My next vehicle will probably have a composting toilet, but like a DIY one, because I think it's ridiculous to spend $1,000 on a toilet. Hello everyone, Editing Jessie here. I just wanted to quickly say that whole section is about people who don't have digestion issues like IBS or Crohn's or something like that. If you don't actively need a toilet multiple times a day, at like a moment's notice, you don't necessarily need one. Just kind of feel out what you need, but it's not the end of the world. If you don't have those issues, you probably don't need a toilet. As I was listening to it, it just came across a little ignorant, and I just wanted to quickly throw that out, because if you do have one of those digestion issues, I just hope that you know that it's completely possible to live in a van and go to the bathroom. Like, you can just add it to your build. You'll have to sacrifice on a little bit of space, but it's completely possible. So let's get back to the video. Just a practical tip for living in a small space is to put the things that you use most often closest to you. Because this cabinet and also the one over the driver's seat are so deep, I only, like in the front one, I have a duffel bag with my out of season clothes, and that goes in the very, very like end of it. And then in this one, I tend to put like sweatshirts and my sweaters deep in there, and then my like pajamas, yoga pants, or workout clothes, t-shirts, jeans tend to be in the front, because those are the things I'm using and putting, or like I know obviously if I am putting a t-shirt on, I'm putting pants on, like, so those can kind of be around the same area in this. Yeah, so that's also good for like your garage area. Try to put the things you won't use very often in the back, or front. I don't know how to explain it. Closer to the front of the van, but away from the back. You understand. Use packing cubes for your clothes and baskets for like trinkets and things. So I have a big basket under my bed to hold all my shoes, a little one to hold my underwear and bras. Obviously I have the hanging baskets. I have a basket right here with all my hair stuff and supplements. It's just so easy to be able to grab this stuff. And it keeps them so organized. But the packing cubes are something that I think a lot of van lifers use, but they're like, I was using them when I was a backpacker. It is so nice to not like to be able to compartmentalize each of the things, and especially if you're like stuffing, this thing isn't that wide, so to be able to just pull out my t-shirts and not be like rooting around. I wish I had packing cubes for my sweaters. They're just so thick, it kind of doesn't really make sense. So in this opening, like I said, is really small, so it's kind of hard to do that, but they're pretty cheap. I think I got, because I had my first set of packing cubes when I was backpacking and I started kind of peeling on the inside. It was really weird. So I got some new ones. I think each one's couldn't have been more than $30 for a pack of like 6 of different sizes. Those are my favorite. So in a smaller van, your clothing storage is going to be a little bit more limited. I am a California girl, so I was raised with layering. It gets cold at night. I'm from Northern California, so it gets very cold at night, no matter what time of year it is. Like, you can have a bonfire in August because it'll be like a 30-degree temperature drop at night. So if you think you are going to be maybe all season camping or van lifing, you will want to have layering pieces. So I, like, when I was in Oregon as it's starting to get like snowy, I'd wear a tank top under a long sleeve shirt, under a sweatshirt, under my jacket, and that's kind of what you do with thermals. So you don't really get the option to have all this storage for all this one-off snow gear. So I have, and even my summer gear, I don't have like clothes. I don't have a lot of stuff that I wouldn't also wear spring and fall. There's a couple things like shorts and like tube tops. But like, yeah, you just don't wear that. Like, I don't wear it often, and they're so small, so it's very easy to store away. And then last tip for living in a small van is to keep things tidy as much as you can. In any van, everything's going to seem like a bomb went off anytime you have to get something out. But try to put things back right away, because it'll make you a lot less stressed, and just can't get over her. Look at those ears. You'll be less stressed, and things will just, it'll be better to go about your day and not be like, oh, I have to like clean my, like put all my clothes away just so I can go to sleep. Or I have all it becomes a pain to have to, if you wait too long. You really can't wait that long. And I try to do dishes maybe if I can, every 3 days, at the like latest, but I really try to start the day fresh, and that is also me kind of speaking it to existence, because it does end up being about 2 to 3 days. But thank you so much for watching. If you want to follow along, subscribe to this channel, and you can also follow me at straywith.me, and you can follow Shasta at Shasta the Adventure Dog. Like I said, will be posting videos, and hey, do you want to sit down? Are you going to say hi? I'm going to be posting videos every 2 weeks and blogs every 2 weeks on my website. So if you want to follow along on either of those, just Instagram will be the best way to be notified, but also obviously be subscribed. What do you say, Shasta? Are you saying goodbye? Are you saying goodbye? Are you saying goodbye? I'm so glad that she's in this video, because she's my favorite. Yes. Are you my favorite? Thank you.